What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the newest episode of the Believe in Oregon podcast. I'm Zachary, Neel. He's Jonathan Stewart. Jay Stu, what's up, man? How we doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, man. Had a nice little trip to Indianapolis this weekend. Had some fun there. It's a good
Yeah,
time.
saw you ran into Kenyon.
I was with your boy Kenyon. Yeah, I landed and I agreed with these Danny and Justin, a local radio show. They were doing a remote show there, and I told them I'd come on and went straight from the airport to there. And Kenyon just happened to be there on the air, so I got to chop it up with your boy for a little bit.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah,
Good
it was a
stuff.
good time. Oregon is Big Ten champions. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
It sounds magical. And I was right.
You were right.
I was right. This whole entire time, ladies and gentlemen. If you ever want to know what's going to happen in the future when it comes to the Oregon Ducks, just holler at your boy.
Just ask Jess too. Well, that's good
Yeah.
because that's a good preview because we're going to go through our bracket preview in a little bit and we'll see. I think I have a feeling who you're going to have standing at the end. I just have
I'm
a
still
premonition.
standing. Yeah.
All right. Well, it was an interesting game. It was all offense and not a lot of defense from two of the top 10 defenses in the nation. I was told right after the game that there was a nasty flu going on through the Oregon defense, particularly a little bit on the offense as well. So I've seen reports of that circulating on social media as well. But the final score, 45-37. Jay Stu, what were your kind of initial thoughts about this game?
My initial thoughts were offensively, we did our thing.
It was kind of incredible.
It was incredible to watch. I'm not gonna lie. The first 4 drives, scoring, it's a dream come true for anyone. And I think you can tell where their level of focus was throughout this week. Starting fast and not letting up had to be a point of focus. And especially going into a Big Ten championship, everything that's at stake, you don't want to get comfortable, right?
Mhm.
And so that was an awesome showing by Dylan Gabriel, Tez Johnson. The running game was great. I think there's still a couple things that I would love to see out of the offensive line. I think the running backs did their thing, bailing them out in a lot of situations. Because I've seen them block and I've seen them, carry out a game that was more clean, right? And obviously Penn State's got some guys on that side of the ball too, so it was kind of expected, but obviously, they got the job done offensively, and you can't complain there.
Yeah, I completely agree. We got a lot to cover today. We're going to talk about playoff seeding. Like I said, we're going to get into our bracket predictions, and we're going to talk about transfer portal news after all of that. But before we do that, let's dive deeper into this game. I've got a long take and bake coming about the playoff. But first, I want to hear your thoughts about Saturday night. You said that you wanted to talk about the rush defense. I want to let you get into that.
Yeah, so I mean, we've played a whole season, and we've been able to see up close and personal, the woes of our defense. And
Mhm.
earlier in the season, we saw a guy named Ashton Ginty, and he ran all over us.
It's pretty
He
good.
beat the Oregon Ducks, but the Oregon Ducks beat Boise State. Is how I like to put it, right? And then throughout the year, there's been certain occasions where certain running backs, took advantage of our defense being lackluster and filling gaps, right? And what I mean by filling gaps, it means if you have outside containment as a defensive lineman or a defensive end or the outside backer or whoever you are filling off the edge, you got to do your job. And then the next guy fills in, and then the next guy fills in, all the way down through the A gap. And I've seen, throughout the year, us get away with some bad habits, where a guy makes a play. And a guy makes a play, there's, the linebacker or the safety that's supposed to fill certain gaps. they're not filling those gaps. And all it takes is one good running back to figure out a way to slip through an arm tackle and find those creases. And, Penn State has two really good running
Really
backs.
good running backs. Yeah.
And so I'm not going to just overshadow that. I'm not going to overlook the fact that we played against a talented group up front on offense, and our defense is really good, especially in the pass rush and getting after the quarterback. But we've proven this year that when it comes to facing a team that thrives off of, having a good tight end and being physical up front and riding on, the running game, allowing the passing game to open up. That is for me a place of worry.
Yeah.
Um, because if you're playing a team that, I look at Ohio State, right? And they thrive on running the ball,
I
right?
try
They
to.
also they try to, but that's that they played a team that actually thrived on running the ball against them, right?
Mhm.
And playing a basic game, which is I'm going to be tougher than you. Our defense has to have that mentality interior wise in the run game, especially in the playoffs. It's getting, if you luckily, we have the Rose Bowl and there's not going to be a weather factor for us.
Yeah.
But, this time of season where guys are getting tired and, the nicks and bruises turn, to, injury prone, right? And all those types of things. It's the nature of the game. A team that can run the ball and run it whenever they want to, and you expose yourself to that, other teams are going to take advantage of it. And that's what I'm most, worried about is we put on film twice where we've gotten murdered in the run game. And I would hope that, we have 3 weeks to prepare and to fix those mistakes, or whatever that is. It's the basic fundamentals, man. Fill gaps.
Yeah, I hear you, and I understand the concern. It is an area for concern, but I don't know if I'm as concerned as it sounds like you are. Yes, Penn State was incredibly successful with the run. They rushed for 297 yards. They had 2 backs go over 100 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw Ashton Genty do it earlier this year as well. Guess what? He's in New York this week for the Heisman Trophy. So yes, it's I don't want to take anything away from him. I want to say that outside of a few runs, Oregon did pretty well against Ashton Genty, and it's not possible for us to actually know how impactful health and not even just like physical health, but like, if these guys were sick, some of them were pretty sick in this game. If that story, which I was told after the game, is true, and it's kind of been circulating on social media, I wonder how big of a factor that was. And, because this game for them was, I don't really want to call it an anomaly, the defense, but like we don't see them give up 37 points very much. And Penn State's got a decent offense, but they're not that good, being, I mean, as respectful as I can. Like, I didn't think this was going to happen. So I just wonder how big of a factor that was, if at all, or if this is something we actually need to be concerned about.
I'll tell you this. Our looked up the statistic, right? Our offense, our defense in rushing in the running game, we give up 4.02 yards per rush.
Hmm.
Penn State had 7 point something yards per rush against us.
I think I've got it right
Okay.
here. Yeah.
And so like 4
It's
yards per rush
it's
on
worse than that.
defense,
8.7.
it was 8.7 this past weekend.
That's what, yeah.
This past weekend they had 8.7 yards per rush.
Yeah, if you consider
I
just the
guess
running
maybe
backs.
if you're counting the quarterback too, right?
I mean, Katron Allen rushed for 8.9 per carry, and Nicholas Singleton rushed for 10.5 per carry. So it's even. It's 9
Okay,
point
yeah. So
something.
not taking into consideration quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So again, that's double, right? And
Yeah.
4 yards to give up 4 yards per rush as a defense is bad.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's not great numbers, and I don't think those numbers come from 2 games. I think we've kind of it's been a little bit of a blemish. Um, as far as like what the impact that that's had on Oregon because when the Oregon offense plays well, um, they can carry the defense and vice versa. That's kind of how we've seen them thrive this year, and I just don't want that to really grow into anything when other teams start to scout, for 3 weeks who they're about to be playing, right? That can that can turn a cut into a large gaping wound.
But that's what I wanna highlight too, because that's what I came away from this game with most impressed by, is that throughout this year, we've heard Dan Lanning say it several times that, our defense had our offense's back. Our defense, they saw the offense was struggling and they won the game with defense. This was, I think, the first game where we truly saw the offense had the defense's back and say, "Hey,
Yeah,
this unit they're giving up some yards, so we're gonna just score points to win this game." And they went out and they did it, and they did it relatively easily too. So that's just something that, this team has showed at this point. I mean, we've got a big sample size, 13 games. They've showed they can win in so many different ways. You want to go out there and play a 16-13 game? Sure, Oregon can do it. You want to go out there and
mhm,
play 45-37? Absolutely, Oregon can do it as well. So going into the playoff where you're going to face potentially so many different teams and styles of play, I think that that's just one thing that I feel confidence in if I'm an Oregon fan that the Ducks can line it up against a lot of different styles of play and feel pretty confident in what they can do.
yeah, I totally agree.
All right, let's take it a little bit bigger picture. We're gonna get into take and bake here. Here's what I've got for this week, and it has to do with playoff seeding. I did some work here, so allow me to go off for a little bit, if you will.
Mhm.
Yes, Oregon is the number one seed. Yes, Oregon got screwed, if we're being completely honest. Is it unfortunate? Definitely. Should you complain about it? Only if you wanna waste your time. I've seen everyone talking on social media, whether it's Oregon fans or national media people saying, "You know what? Oregon's path through the playoff to the championship is awful." They could potentially be playing, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, all these big names. As the number 1 seed, they did not get rewarded. They should have lost some games, and they would have gotten a better schedule like Penn State. I simply just don't have the energy to get into this debate. You play the teams on your schedule. Bitching about this on social media isn't going to change anything. It's just,
Sure ain't.
it's kind of just wasting my time. I'm not going to waste my time moaning about the fact that Penn State has an easier route after losing the conference title. Also, I think that if we're being honest, Oregon's playoff draw is more difficult based on the name of the teams than in reality. Let's look at potential teams that they could face. Starting off with some unlikely opponents, I think these are the underdogs that they could face. Clemson, I'm not even gonna waste my time there. I think that Oregon could win that game handily.
Yeah, and if it
Arizona,
was Texas,
exactly,
like, they
yes,
don't even know who should be their starting quarterback because
exactly,
Archie Manning should absolutely be their starting quarterback. Whoever that other guy is, he's not mobile. He's
exactly.
stuck in the pocket, and unless he's amazing at throwing people open, he's not gonna be able to get anything done.
Absolutely. Arizona State, I love what Kenny Dillingham's doing, but without
Yeah,
their number one wide receiver and Jordan Tyson, I don't
it's
like
gonna
them
be
as
hard.
much. You take away Cam Scatabo and it's game over. Then you look at Ohio State. The last game they played was a loss to a 6-5 team that Oregon blew out on the road. They have major injuries on the offensive line that got exposed their last time on the field. Questionable decision making from a coach who appears to be kind of coaching for his job at this point. And oh, yeah, Oregon played them this year and beat them in a game where a lot of things didn't go their way. Going to Tennessee, they kind of remind me of Penn State a little bit. They've got a great defense, they've got a pretty good offense.
Defense is stacked up front. That front
Defense really
seven
good.
is that Tennessee defense looking like Alabama back in the
Okay,
day.
but listen to this. So they've got the number 4 defense in the nation. Guess what Oregon just did to the number 5 defense in the nation? Put up 45 points. What did
Yeah,
Oregon do to the number 1 defense in the nation earlier this year? Put up 32 points. Like,
32. Yeah,
it's just yeah, they've got a great defense. You know what? Oregon's
but
got
we
a
have
pretty
Dylan
freaking good
Gabriel.
offense. Exactly. And then you look at Tennessee's offense and they're pretty good. They've
Yeah,
got a really good rushing attack. They're really good. Nico Yamalava, he doesn't scare me a ton, to be honest. He's a little bit mistake prone. I think that team is beatable. Then, like you said with Texas, they've been built up as a great team all year. I'm still
I don't
not
see
buying
it.
it. I'm
I
sorry.
don't see
Still
it.
not buying it. I'm not sold on the quarterback with Quinn Ewers, like you said. Arch Manning, in my opinion, is the better player, should be playing. They and like kind of they've got a great defense, but who have they played? We've been saying this all year. Who have they beat? 6-6 Oklahoma, 8-4 Texas A&M, 7-5 Florida. They played Georgia twice, lost both times, and they don't have a truly impressive win on their schedule. I personally could see them getting exposed in the playoff. I could see them losing to Clemson, like you alluded to earlier. I don't know that they would be who Oregon would face. So then everyone is penciling in Georgia as, who Oregon would potentially play in the national championship. Let's hold on a second. Carson Beck
Nope.
seriously injured his elbow in that game.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Tommy
had
John. Tommy
a
John.
UCL injury? Like, he's got a noodle arm right now. I'd be shocked if he played in the playoffs this year. And even if he's played, it wouldn't be at 100%. Even when he's 100%, what is he? B plus quarterback? Is that being
Yeah.
generous? I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of complaining and belly aching from Oregon fans and even some national media guys too that are saying that Oregon got a bad draw. Sure, complaining about it isn't going to do anything. You're the number one team. You've been hands down the best team in the nation all year. Act like it. Prove it.
Yeah.
Win the games on your schedule. That's all you can do. That's all I've got.
Yeah. Well said.
Thank
You
you.
know, um, I think Dan Lanning had a quote basically saying winning a national championship isn't supposed to be easy.
Yeah, it's supposed to be hard.
It's supposed to be hard. So if the path is a little bit tougher than everybody else's, then sure, we'll take that plate and we'll take a second. Give me
Yeah.
seconds. And that's the mindset that you want to have if you're a head coach, right? You're not going to fix this situation. It is what it is, and thank God that you're in it, right? And it's the first year that all of this has been put together. And I think at the end of this season, yeah, let's have all these discussions so that way you can maybe go back to the drawing board and fix certain things.
And they
I don't
will.
know.
I'm sure
And
they will.
and so yeah, but to that point, man, I think what people should really be making a take on is this is an opportunity for Oregon to really flex their muscles here. This route presents unique challenges.
Oh my
Great.
gosh.
So
Yeah.
this is a great opportunity for Oregon to basically make a statement to the entire like high school community
Hmm.
and to the entire like college nation of transfer portal guys and guys that don't want to play for their school and want to transfer and want to win a title and want to go to the league, whatever it is. This is a chance for them to prove their dominance beyond doubt here,
Hmm.
right? And demonstrate strength in the Big Ten. Um, obviously, we want to people talk about the SEC and the narrative of them being so great and superior to everybody else. Dan has the ability to prepare this team in ways that no one's ever seen before.
Hmm.
So this is an opportunity for University of Oregon to basically say, "Yep, this is exactly what we want." We want everybody to be talking about how unfair this is for us.
Hmm.
We want everybody to talk about, man, if I was Oregon, I would be pissed. Yeah, maybe they are pissed. You know what I'm saying? And maybe
Chip
that
on the
might be
shoulder.
fuel. That might be chip. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Like
It is.
exactly. And so if I'm Dan Lanning, absolutely. Hey guys, this sucks. But guess what? Who has it better than us?
Yeah.
No one. We're 13-0. Let's
Yeah.
just go out here and finish this thing off, and basically make a statement to the world that, hey, if you want to be great, come to the University of Oregon.
Well, and it's not only an opportunity to, win the championship. I'm looking bigger picture than that. This is an opportunity to kind of put yourself in the realm of one of the best college football teams ever. I mean,
Ever.
there's a lot of answers you can have when asked about who is the best college football team ever. I mean, in my mind personally, like 2019 LSU comes to mind, 2021 Georgia. There's a lot.
Mhm.
There's old Miami teams, old Alabama teams. If you're Oregon and you beat Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Texas, Georgia, Ohio State again, maybe Tennessee.
Name it.
How are you like
You go
discrediting that season?
undefeated.
It's not
Yeah.
possible. I mean, we could be getting way ahead of ourselves because that's a tough road, and there's still a lot of games to be
No,
played.
we're not getting ahead of ourselves. Speak that thing into
That's where
existence,
we
dog.
disagree. That's where we disagree. But still, I'm just saying, like, the opportunity's there, and you talk about opportunity. Dan Lanning's been talking about it all year. They just want the
So hold
opportunity.
on, you think that
They've
they ain't
got
gonna
it.
win a national championship?
I'm not
Is that
saying
what
that.
you saying?
I am not saying that. We're gonna
You
get into
just said,
our nope, nope, nope. You're putting words in my mouth. We're
all
gonna get
right.
into our bracket prediction soon. I'm just saying. I don't. Dan Lanning would be saying this too. You don't want to be talking about that championship right now. What they're talking
Man,
about
we
right
are
now.
not coaches. We are not players anymore. That's what's so good about being retired. We
See,
can
I'm not
say whatever
retired.
we want and believe what we want.
I'm at work right now, man. I don't know what you're talking
I'm at
about.
work
Retired.
too.
I'm at work.
Man, look, I'm retired from football.
There you go. Oh,
So
must be
I
nice.
can talk that I can talk that
Mhm.
stuff. No,
All
but
right, well, let's keep talking. Let's keep talking. I want to get into our general playoff bracket, and while we're on the subject, just look at what we expect to happen. Kind of like
okay.
I actually love this in college football because in March Madness, you get to fill out your bracket and predict upsets. We get to do that now with college football, and I think it's something that I feel much more confident in my predictions. So let's start with the
Yeah.
first round matchups and just keep this simple. I'm gonna list the matchups. You tell me who you think is going to advance, maybe a little bit why, but we'll keep it relatively short so we can get through the whole bracket. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Number 12, Clemson versus number 5, Texas. Who you got?
Dabo.
You got Dabo, huh? You got Clemson
Dabo. Because Texas don't know what they're doing, man. They over there throwing weird routes and stuff like, oh, yeah, we're a fade team. No, we're not.
and playing the wrong
That's the
quarterback.
playing the wrong quarterback, man. You got to get Manning in there. He got a last name for a reason. He tried. Listen, God said, "I'm gonna send a family name down to earth and name them Mannings, and I'm gonna make it easy for coaches.
Yeah.
Play the Manning kid."
Seems kind of simple, right? You got a
Yeah,
Manning. You should probably play him.
yeah, man.
I I've got Texas here.
Well,
I don't trust Clemson at all.
if they start, if Archie Manning gets some reps in there, more than two, then yeah, they've got a chance.
I don't know. Clemson just lucked into a draw in the playoff, in my opinion. I mean, if Syracuse hadn't beat Miami and blah blah blah, all these things had to happen. But I think 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, Clemson was not in the playoff picture, and then they were. And I
Yeah,
think they kind of just woke up on third base here. So I got Texas. Number 11, SMU versus number 6, Penn State. Who you got?
I have. Man, look, people are talking about Penn State having, the easy road.
Uh-huh.
I honestly think SMU, that little quarterback,
He's good. He's good.
he
Jennings.
different. He got a different twitch to him.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure what the weather's gonna be like. No one's sure, but it's
That's gonna
gonna be
be in Penn
cold,
State. That's gonna be cold. Yeah.
and it's during a time where a lot of people haven't played football games.
Hmm.
I don't care who you is. I don't care where you from. I don't care what school you at. Not a lot of people has been playing football games in the middle of December.
Hmm.
Okay,
Up in
let's
Penn State.
up in
Yeah.
Penn State. So you got to add all that to the equation as far as where guys are from and who's who. And yeah,
Hmm.
number 11's great, but is he going to be great when it's cold outside?
Yeah. You got a Texas team going to Pennsylvania in mid-December to play an outdoor game in Happy Valley. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm taking you're taking Penn State.
No, I'm taking SMU.
You're taking SMU. You're
I'm
still
taking
doing it.
SMU
Wow,
because
you got 2 upsets, huh,
because
right
there's
off
a
the bat.
because no one SMU hasn't played there. They play in Texas, but Penn State, those players have not experienced the middle of December playing football in Penn
Yeah,
State.
but they're gonna
Think
be
about it.
more apt to
They,
adapt than
yeah,
Texas players. It's at their
that might
home.
be true. That might be true. But I'm talking about wind. I'm talking about think about special teams, right? You kicking a field goal. Who's that affecting? Both teams.
Okay, but
So
who's gonna be less affected? The team that's at home and who's played in Pennsylvania
hey
in at
man,
least
look,
late
you gonna
November before.
when this happens, you go ahead
Okay.
and hit my line.
All right, that sounds
SMU.
good. Yeah. Sounds good. All right. I've got Penn State. So I've got 2 non-upsets. You've got 2 upsets to go. This will be
Yeah.
interesting as we get down here. I think you may be crowning Penn State or SMU as your national champion. I don't know what's going to happen now.
No, 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 no.
Actually, I do know that's not going to happen. All right. Number 10,
Oh.
Indiana versus number 7, Notre Dame. Who you got?
In the spirit of Manti Te'o, I declare Notre Dame to win this game.
Okay. I'm with you there too. I think that Notre Dame threw everyone off the scent early this year with their loss to Northern Illinois. They've been a
Mhm.
pretty good team throughout the season.
Yeah.
I could see them going far on that side of the bracket just because I don't think that's a very strong side of the bracket. I think we're going to hear from Notre Dame this year.
Yeah.
Number 9 Tennessee versus number 8 Ohio State.
In
This
the
is an important
spirit
one.
of LaMichael James reversing the field and
Yes,
taking it the
sir.
distance, I have Tennessee going and playing Oregon in the Rose Bowl.
Oh, I
And what
love
a
it.
sight that would be to see.
Oh, I've got the
Oh,
same thing, man. That's gonna be an incredible game, just
yeah.
visually, just
Yeah.
the sunset in the Rose Bowl,
Ah,
Tennessee's uniforms, Oregon's uniforms. Oh,
hope they
that
have
is
that
an
crazy airplane that's so big fly over
yeah,
and all that.
that's incredible. Just
Yeah,
to dive into it though, I think that Ohio State got exposed a little bit against Michigan, and I don't think that
absolutely.
it's something that they can patchwork up in a few weeks. That's something that takes an
Again
offseason to fix, in my opinion.
and again, Tennessee, they play in Tennessee. It gets cold there
Yeah.
during certain parts of the year. Um, and it's in Ohio State. The weather is going to be a factor for both teams. And Ohio State, if you plan on throwing the ball in some cold weather where the ball's heavier, harder, all those types of things, and you plan on passing the ball when you should have been passing the ball for the last 3 weeks, and you ain't found it, you
3
ain't gonna
months.
find it. You ain't gonna find it in the next week. I love my boy Chip, and it's just gonna be a uphill battle, man.
Well, I also liked what Kirk Herbstreit was saying on the playoff reveal show. He made a good point that Ohio State may have been better playing this game on the road because that fan base is not happy right now. And if
No,
they get down early, there are going to be some boo-burns out
boo,
in Ohio Stadium.
Ryan Day. Uh,
Exactly. So that may be a tough environment for them playing at home, which is crazy because that's one of the
yeah,
best home venues in the nation.
Ryan Day, come make my child some food.
All right.
Come take the diapers out to the garbage.
We are gonna go to second round. We got number 4, Arizona State. You've got them going up against Clemson. What do you think happens there?
I think we're gonna have ourselves an old fashioned Pac-12 challenge here.
Okay. You got Arizona State, huh?
Yeah,
All right, I like it. I've got Arizona State against Texas. I think Texas wins because, like I said earlier, I love what Kenny's doing. I don't know that that is fit for playoff football, and I think the talent difference between those two is just a little bit too big. Texas defense, they're not amazing, as we've all been, told, they're
that's
pretty
why
good.
you got that first one wrong, man. You should have picked Clemson.
I don't believe in
Dabo.
Clemson. I don't believe
See,
in
you
Clemson.
ain't you ain't in Carolina. That's why you don't
That's
got
true.
that orange in your blood.
I'm not drinking that orange Kool-Aid.
Orange and purple, that purple drink.
All right, we got number 3, Boise State. I've got them against Penn State. You've got them against SMU. Who wins that game?
Boise, Ashton Jeanty goes hammy.
I think we've disagreed on just about every game so far. There's 2
Yeah,
that we didn't
you
disagree
you
on.
keeping track of all this?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Mm, please
We'll go
do.
through it. We'll figure it out. I've got Penn State, man. I think Penn State is good. I think they found some confidence against Oregon, and I think it's going to carry them a little bit of the ways.
I think the head coach complained too much.
Well, I don't disagree with you there. He was
I
doing a
think
lot of
it's
complaining after that
just
game.
trickling down to the locker room and just spoiling those little kids. And then
Uh,
got the holidays coming up, and they're gonna just think that they're entitled to opinions and entitled to just look, man. And to be honest, I mean, if you look at this schedule, you look at this bracket,
mhm.
and you can almost like if you really wanted to just like create some like manufactured idea of trickery. Like Penn State probably went in there and was like, let's lose this game. Let's just run the ball and see what happens. I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
they
son, could
almost
take a
won
couple
it.
sacks, throw a couple interceptions. Who knows? But nah. And let's see where we fall. Oh, we get to play SMU. Great, I
Well,
love
they
it.
got the best road in the entire
And
playoff.
that's the reason why I said SMU gonna shock the world.
Okay.
Everybody over here, everybody talking about it, man. Think about it, man. There's money on this. People are gonna be betting on this. This is gonna be like college basketball, March
Mhm.
Madness. SMU is that Cinderella team.
You think so? There's
Yeah,
Steph
they're
Curry
going.
dating.
Yeah, they're gonna that little quarterback. I'm telling you that
Yeah,
that little
he
twitchy
makes
boy.
he's good. Yeah. All right, number 2, Georgia. We've both got them against number 7, Notre Dame.
They
What say
gonna
you?
get dogged.
You
They
think
gonna
Georgia's
get
losing?
dogged. They
Yeah,
gonna get dogged.
I'm
They
with
ain't
you.
got like that quarterback.
Gunner Stockton? You don't believe in Gunner?
Stock the Stockton guy, man. He got hit so hard
Oh,
that he gonna
he
be
got
thinking
hit
about it
so
twice.
hard.
He
Oh,
got
he
hit
won't be
so
thinking.
hard.
He's asleep right now. He's still
Yeah, boy.
recovering from
Nah,
that.
we don't want to say that. Hopefully he's awake, man. Hopefully you're awake, brother. You did get your head knocked off, and
Hey,
your
credit
helmet
to
was
him.
right
He
there.
held onto the ball.
He did.
Incredible.
The ball held on to him. That's what happened.
All right, we both got Notre Dame going through. I think that that would be a good game. I'm excited to
Yeah.
see that. I think Notre Dame's gonna shock some people. All
Yep.
right, we both have Oregon against Tennessee. Wonder who
Yes.
we're picking.
Oh, in the spirit of LaMichael James
Yeah,
and Darren Thomas,
there you go. Still one
we
of the
have
best runs I've
ourselves
ever
a
seen.
win over Tennessee. The Volunteers. They're volunteering to lose.
Yeah, I think Oregon's gonna do this as well. I think they get onto the semifinals. I've got Oregon against Texas. You have Oregon against Ohio or Arizona State. Let's save that for a sec. So you have SMU versus Notre Dame. I have Penn State versus Notre Dame. What do you think?
Ah, touchdown, Jesus. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
Okay. You got Notre Dame going on to the finals?
Notre Dame going to the finals, baby. Manti
Notre
Te'o,
Dame.
man. What's up?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. Notre Dame gets past Penn State for me. I think Notre Dame
Mm-hmm.
going to the championship game. I have Oregon against Texas. You have Oregon against Arizona State to get to the championship. Ooh, Dan Lanning versus Kenny Dillingham to get to the national championship. Who would have ever thought that would happen this year? I'm assuming you're taking Oregon because I am as well.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the whole coaching staff putting up a great, amazing game plan. Beating Arizona State. Um, you played them last year, and I think they played them last year.
Yeah,
If
they did.
not,
Yeah, they
yeah,
did.
doesn't matter though because yeah, we have the running back coach that was actually there at Arizona State, so
Shot
he knows
samples.
them a little bit, and
Mhm.
I feel like our coaching staff's better than theirs. That's the reason why we're going to win.
Coaching staff's better, players are better. It's just, yeah, I think that I don't think they're even gonna play them. So I don't know why I'm lobbying for your pick, but yeah, I think Oregon gets on to the national championship game. We both have Oregon versus Notre Dame to win it all. Who do you think? Yeah,
Quack quack.
let's do it. I think so as well,
Oregon
man.
Oregon finally finds themselves victorious and having themselves a natty under the belt. And I will be singing, I will be praising, I will be posting on social media
I'm sure you will.
continuously for the whole entire year.
Well, that's a long year because this game could take place on January 20th. So you've got a
Yes.
lot of
I
posting.
got a whole 363 days, or however many days,
I don't think that's the
358,
right math, but
353 days.
345, I think it would be, but whatever.
Uh,
I think that, I actually feel really good about that pick. Like, not to be, I know this is an Oregon Ducks podcast. I know that we both went to Oregon. We both have been Oregon fans for a long
I've
time.
been
You played
telling y'all
there.
all year, I'm a realist,
You
man.
have been. You have been. I think that the bracket actually kind of stacks up pretty nicely for them. I think they're
Mhm.
playing teams they can beat. I really think they could win the national championship this year.
I really like how you broke it down though, as far as like the teams that we're going to play. Like
Mhm.
everybody's looking at the name. And it's like, oh, when you think of Clemson, who do you think about? Deshaun Watson. Oh, you look at Texas, who do you think about? Ricky Williams.
Mhm.
Oh, you look at Tennessee, who you think about? Peyton Manning
Yeah.
or his nephew that should be playing. Oh, Ohio State. Who do you think of? Oh, Eddie George and
Yeah,
the likes of all those guys. Ted Ginn, SMU.
no idea.
I don't know right now. There's somebody.
I'm sure
Penn
there is.
State. Oh, Saquon Barkley. Oh, yeah, that's great. Indiana.
No.
Indiana Jones. Notre Dame. Manti Te'o. You got
Uh,
um,
Brady Quinn.
Brady Quinn. You got Golden Tate. You got a lot of guys that you can, start labeling off and saying, caliber college. But this isn't that.
How many of those guys are playing this year? None.
Zero.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
don't know, man. I've seen a lot of Oregon fans, like, when talking about this online, that are just falling into the classic, and I don't blame them, but, like, Oregon has been
We
they've never won
control our
these,
own destiny.
but Oregon hasn't won these games before, and so they go into this automatically and are like, "Oh, we have to play that team. We have to play that team." Oh, there's kind of a scared mentality.
We get to play that team.
Oregon's number, like, how many you think Tennessee is looking forward to having to play Oregon in the second round?
Yeah.
You think
Because
Ohio State's
imagine
looking
this.
forward to a matchup?
Yeah. To your point, imagine if it was reversed, right?
Exactly.
Then you would have to deal with all the haters that are talking about, oh, this is unfair for Oregon. You'll
Exactly.
hear them saying, oh, man, this is just so set up for Oregon. This is rigged. So I don't want to hear it no more. You're right, man.
Yeah.
Can't please everybody.
Mm-mm. Win the games
No.
on your schedule. Win the games on your
Yeah.
schedule. Take care
Win
of
the games on
business.
your schedule and take
Go
care
win
of
that
business.
championship.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some transfer portal talk to close this out. J Stu, I want to start by asking you this. You've gotten much more into the college game over the last year since we started this podcast. Not that you didn't pay attention before.
No,
Obviously,
you're right. You're absolutely
you
right.
played college football, but
Yeah.
you've started to focus on it more since we started this.
Hmm.
What's your opinion on the transfer portal? Are you for it? Are you against it? Does it annoy you? Do you enjoy it? Do you get super into it? How do you feel when the transfer portal opens up?
It makes sense for certain players,
Okay.
but how you determine who those certain players are, it's very hard to tell until everything plays out.
Mhm.
Because there's obviously some guys that were in situations where a college football team releases their coach or their coach takes into the job and all those types of things, and so you as a young kid and your family, you're gifted all these promises, but then a new regime comes in and that new regime doesn't know who you are and they have different plans, and that scenario makes a lot of sense. But when it comes to guy that's been there for a year, feeling his way out, and he's got promise, and so much promise to where he goes somewhere else and starts somewhere else, but maybe doesn't pan out as the competitor that he thought he would be. He's better off just staying where he is and finding that edge, finding that fire within him to be the ultimate competitor. 'Cause
Mhm.
that's what football is all about. That's why it's so fun, because it's the ultimate team sport. It's the ultimate, warrior. It's the closest thing to being a warrior, right? You're going out there and basically standing in a coliseum. And in the words of Dan Lanning, the gladiator, he's the new
Mhm.
gladiator, by the way. Are
Okay.
you not entertained?
He's good at that.
And I just think I think kids need to figure out, hey, what do I want for myself?
Mhm.
Do I want the easy road, or do I want to become someone? Do I want to become great? Because you don't just wake up and just say, "Oh, I'm great today." You have to become great. You have to work at it. You have to go through hard things. You have to have scabs. You know what I'm saying? And so that's my take on, like, really, I mean, overglazed version of how I feel about the transfer portal. I mean, there's good and there's bad, and it's hard to determine what that is until the outcomes play itself out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that for some kids it's great, for others it's not the right fit. But in general, as far as like an entertainment standpoint, I have found myself coming to love the transfer portal over the past few
Yeah.
years. I just think it's so fun to, just from a fan's perspective, watch it and watch how these teams build their rosters and find ways to fit little pieces and like just Oregon for an example, just like the pieces they added this last year on the defense that have helped them get over that hump.
Yeah. Oh,
Adding
absolutely.
Brandon Johnson, Kobe Savage, players like that, just like you wouldn't think, or Derek Harmon was a perfect example. When he signed, it wasn't like, oh my God, they got this incredible defensive lineman. That dude, I was looking at mock drafts earlier. He's mocked to go like 16th in the first round. And like,
Yeah.
who saw that coming when they signed him? But because of
I
the
mean,
transfer portal,
Dylan Gabriel.
exactly. I mean, it's just so fun to see how these teams choose to use it to their advantage. So, the portal opened up on Monday. I'm super excited. I've already been having a lot of fun watching who gets into the portal. We know where these kids are taking visits, who's going where. I'm not going to dive too deep into players to watch, but I felt like it'd be valuable just to discuss at least positions of need and maybe a few names that I'm hearing early on. Let's start with positions of need for Oregon. The Ducks, if you're the Ducks, you don't need, we feel confident that they don't need anyone at quarterback, interior offensive line, or edge rusher. You agree with that?
Yeah.
You're set at all of those spots with immense young talent, in my opinion.
I mean, I wouldn't mind depending on who the quarterback is, right? If we bring another guy that's because I'm all for because this is different. Dylan Gabriel came in with the intent to start, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
I wouldn't necessarily bring in a guy with the intent to start, but I would bring in a guy that would light a fire under the guy that's been watching Dylan Gabriel, right?
What about a high end 4-star and a 5-star that are coming in as true freshmen? I think they've already got that. I hear what you're saying. You
Yeah.
wanna you wanna push that, you don't wanna make it just Dante Moore's job. I kinda think
Yes.
they've already
Because
got that depth, though.
they got the young guys, right?
Yeah. They've got some really good young guys.
Okay.
I don't
Well,
know, I feel like, yes, I mean, if there's an incredibly talented quarterback that says, "Hey, I wanna come there," and it's
there's
financially
gonna be
feasible,
that's what I'm gonna say here too. Once we win this national championship,
that's true. You're gonna
boy,
have to turn guys away.
the world is our oyster. So
That's
that's
true.
why I'm saying you that's why it's so exciting. I mean, that's why Bill Belichick is looking at UNC, right? This
What
man's
a
looking at
wild
this as a
story.
whole situation like, hey man, if I go to UNC, I might be able to get and pick any player that I want to come here.
That's
This
true.
turns this turns into a draft for me.
That's true. That's like
You know what I'm saying?
Dan Lanning says that Nick Saban always told him, "Hey, in the NFL, you can only have one first-round draft pick. In college, you can have as many as
As
you
many
want."
as you want.
It's like, I'm sure Bill Belichick's thinking that now too.
And so that's where it's running into for the University of Oregon. So if I'm them, you know, you're creating a culture that is almost like the NFL, in my
Mhm.
opinion. And it's what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
Ain't no promises.
Yeah,
You
I hear
getting
you.
paid? If we paying people around here, look, we got bills to pay.
Yeah, I hear you. Alright, so back to positions of need. If you're Oregon, I think 2 positions that you must take this year. You need someone at these positions, tight end and safety. You're
Yes.
losing 2 of your 3 tight ends. You love what Kenyon Sadiq does. We loved what he did on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Good lord, that
Yeah.
boy can
That boy
play.
about to be a 2026 uh
First rounder.
first round pick there,
Yeah,
fella.
I think you could, but you need depth there, and then you're also losing all 3 of your starting safeties as well, so those are
Mm.
positions that you have to leave with someone from the transfer portal. You can also
What about
take
receiver?
someone I was gonna say, you can also take someone at offensive tackle, running back, receiver, interior defensive line, linebacker, and cornerback. Those are positions where it's like, if you find the right fit, yeah, you take them on, you add a little bit of depth. If you get a starter, great, but you feel pretty good about the talent you have there as well.
Has there been any declarations to the draft?
Not yet. I mean, not from Oregon that I've seen.
Mhm.
I mean, I also saw in that mock draft earlier that Josh Connerly is projected to go in the first round, which I know is someone that they're trying to get back for another year. So, I mean, if he leaves
Hey,
and a Johnny Cornelius leaves, then that offensive tackle becomes a must get for
that
Oregon.
boy put on a clinic
He did
during that Penn State game.
against a first rounder, Abdul Carter.
Man, look, Carolina Panthers. Hey, man, you can never be too deep at offensive line.
That's
That's all I'm
yeah.
saying.
He looked good too. All right, just some names to know that I have on good authority that Oregon has reached out to or contacted. Texas wide receiver Jonte Cook, former 5-star. Texas Tech wide receiver Micah Hudson, former 5-star. USC defensive lineman Bear Alexander, former 5-star, former Georgia player as well. Michigan State cornerback Charles Brantley, LSU safety Jordan Allen, and Purdue safety Dylan Theineman.
Yeah,
Those are just some names to be aware of if you're an Oregon fan.
I definitely like safety, um,
Yeah.
considering how important that position is when it comes to playing college football. Guys are going to make mistakes. You got to have someone that's back there playing prevent and making up for all the mishaps that come along with stopping a powerful offense.
And this Purdue kid, Theineman, if you have not seen his tape, I mean, you should go look it up. He is oof, if Oregon can get him right now, he would be
Yeah.
an
Come on,
incredible
baby.
player.
What's his name?
Incredible. Dylan Theineman. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Dylan Thine Dylan Theineman?
Theinemann. Theineman.
Yes,
I don't
him.
know. Yeah, him.
We're gonna call him Dylan him.
Dylan him. Dylan T.
Dylan T. Dylan the
Yeah,
second. We
there
already
you
had a
go.
Dylan.
We've got several Dylans on the team. All right, let's wrap it up there.
Dilly dilly.
I don't know exactly when we'll be back on with you guys. I'm trying to get several interviews lined up, so you may see a surprise episode drop later this week or over the weekend. Who knows? We will for sure be back on next week, though, on Tuesday to discuss things. Maybe Dylan Gabriel's Heisman Trophy win? Probably not. Probably not. Who do you actually? Let's talk about real quick. Who's your Heisman pick? If you were to vote right now, who is it?
If I had to vote, it's Ashton Jeanty.
Think so?
And it's hard. Listen, he has a great offensive line, but it's hard to do what he's done. Purposeful, right? They were
Hmm.
keeping this man in the game when they were beating teams. I mean, and to be able to do that, not get injured. Obviously, he had something going on with the shoulder or elbow at some point, but to withstand the amount of carries throughout a college football season, 11 games, and to do what you did, and to be in the talks of, in my opinion, the greatest running back ever,
Yeah.
Barry Sanders. That is an incredible feat,
No.
and it should not be ignored. It should be celebrated. And I think the scope of football with that in itself should be like altered. The value of the running back, right?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of talk about, oh, running backs are replaceable. Not that guy.
It's true.
That guy is not replaceable.
He's
I'm
a
sorry
game
to tell
breaker.
you. He's a game breaker. He legitimately had how many explosive runs this year? I
I
think
don't
like
know.
40,
Hundreds?
35. But
200,
like
300?
but you can't overlook a talent like that. And obviously Travis Hunter is the best that you're gonna see play DB and receiver all
Mhm.
in one game. You'll I don't think we'll see that caliber of player ever.
Mhm.
So it's tough, man, because that's an incredible accomplishment. Like he's almost kind of like an Iron Man, right?
Mhm.
If there was an Iron Man award, I would give it to him
Yeah.
immediately. Here, you take it. You're built different, and you are just different than every single college football player out here. Um, and I just think if I had this scenario I posted on Twitter where it was like, if you take you know Travis Hunter and put him on Boise State, are
Mhm.
they the number 3 seed in the playoffs without
Mm,
Ashton
without Ashton
Jeanty?
Jeanty? No.
Without Ashton Jeanty? And if you put Ashton Jeanty on Colorado, they have a
Without
better
Travis
running
Hunter?
game. They have a
They're
better
pretty
they
good.
have a better running game, which opens up things for Shador to
Mhm.
really find that happy medium passing lane
Yeah.
in the middle of the field, and just makes things easier when you have a running game, right? And so I just think those two guys obviously sit in a whole different realm when it comes to that.
Mhm.
Um, and I think Dylan Gabriel has had an incredible college career, Like like the numbers that he put up this year established himself as a great college quarterback as a whole, being
Mhm.
able to go from different teams and still find success and being able to take on different playbooks and be able to dial that in and deliver and be a leader on those teams and to be able to finish his college career this way is a dream come true, right? Be able to go to you tell me if I tell a kid and say, "Hey, look, you can go to 3 different colleges and ball out and be a Heisman Trophy winner and be in contention for a championship." Like, if you tell a kid that, you're gonna get him to commit ASAP,
Instantly.
instantly. And he's
Yeah.
had a magical, magical career. Um, but as far as the season goes, I think Ashton Jeanty had the best season ever.
Yeah, I think, if I had a vote too, I would go Ashton Jinty. It's
Mhm.
kind of hard. I mean, it's unfortunate that he's doing what he's doing in the same season that Travis Hunter's doing what he's doing because they're
But
both
Travis
deserving.
but Travis Hunter was doing what he was doing last year. Ashton Jeanty was doing what he was doing last year. The
Yeah, it's just
difference is
the fact
the
that
dip
they're overlapping is a little tough.
yeah, but the difference is Boise State is in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. But I you know, I'm able to admit that my vote for Ashton Jinty is a little bit biased, and it's because I'm personally not the biggest fan of what Colorado is doing and the whole Deion Sanders experiment there.
I
I
love
res
Deion Sanders though. That's
I
where we both
respect it. I love what he's
what
I
you
mean,
don't like about it?
I don't it's just not for me. I mean, the flash, the talking crap to players and tweeting at old players and all this the Sanders experiment, all of that stuff, it's just not for me. And I have
So, what do
noticed
you
that
mean
that
the Sanders experiment?
what
The fact
about
that he's taking care of his kids?
no, 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 no. The fact that he's, him and his kids are tweeting at past players and, talking crap about them after they leave and all this stuff. I think it's kind of a bad look. It's not for me. I respect what he's doing for his family, for his team, taking care of his kids. I think he's a really good coach. I think they're really talented players. It's just, I find it to be a little bit of a sideshow that is not
Mhm.
always necessary. That's just my
All I
opinion.
gotta say is with them kids talking that junk, you bark up the wrong tree, you gonna find out. It's a lesson learned.
Oh,
Everybody gotta learn
okay.
a lesson. Okay?
Okay.
These kids that's the one thing that Mike Tyson did get right. Everybody getting too comfortable talking that junk on social media when they should be getting punched in the mouth for it. I
Well, remind
butchered
me
I
not to
butchered the
say
whole
anything
I
on
butchered the
social
whole
media.
quote. I butchered the whole quote, but it was somewhere along that line. And I think that's where we are in society. Like people feel like they can say whatever they want without anything being handed to them, right?
Yeah,
And I think that's a precedent. Like that's a principle in my humble opinion. Like, hey, you want to talk that junk, you're gonna get embarrassed nationally, internationally, virtually.
mhm.
Okay.
Well,
So keep your mouth quiet. And yeah, but also too, there's a side to it where it's like, hey, you're a professional, you're a grown man, all those types of things. Carry yourself a certain way. I get it, but there's a fine line, and his name's Deion Sanders.
it's true. He's of
So
anyone that can do this, he probably can't,
he's one of one.
yeah,
Okay,
he
so
is.
that's the reason why it's different.
But
So
how I see it, I mean, some people like pickles, some people don't. Some people like tomatoes, some people don't. Some people like Dion, some people don't. Some people like what
how do
he's
you
doing there. It's
how
I
you don't like
respect
Deion?
it.
How do you
I
not like Deion
respect it. I
Sanders?
understand what he's doing. I
So if
respect
you
it. It's not for
respect
me.
it, so you respect pickles on a sandwich.
If you like them, sure. Have all the pickles you want. I don't care. I don't want them. Actually, I do like pickles, but that's just an
See?
that's just an example. But you
Okay.
know what I'm saying? Like,
I hear
hey,
you.
my disliking
He's
Dion
not your
doesn't
cup of tea.
exactly. It doesn't take anything away from him or from you. I don't think he gives a crap if I
You
like
like
him or
you
not.
like sweet tea or you like
Oh,
bland
I
tea?
love sweet tea. I love
Okay,
sweet
so
tea.
that's Deion Sanders, fool.
But
Sweet
it's not the
tea.
same.
Sweet tea and lemonade.
Uh, a funny story on my Airbnb this last week. I got dinner on Friday night. Ordered just what I thought was a bottle of sweet tea. They showed up with a gallon of sweet tea. I was like, "All
What
right."
was it from?
It was some restaurant there. I was like, "All right, I'm drinking sweet tea
Was it
all
like a
weekend."
chicken tender place?
It was some like barbecue joint. Yeah, it was great.
Okay,
I
yeah.
had a lot of sweet
Mm,
tea this weekend.
sweet deal.
All
No
right,
pun
we
intended.
have gone on. Wow, it's been a long episode. We've gone long enough. Let's wrap it up there. JC, you got anything to add before we go?
Nope, we need it to be long because
What else is
this
there
is
to
what
talk
it's gonna
about?
be like. We ain't got nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, we're getting close to the off season. It's staring us in the face of like a month away. It's scary.
Yeah.
All right, you check out more of my work at duckswire.usatoday.com. Follow me at Zachary C. Neel on Twitter. Follow Jay Stu on Twitter at Jonathan Stewart1, and make sure to check out the Believe in Panthers podcast and the Stu and Crew podcast. For myself, Zach Neel, for my co-host Jonathan Stewart, we'll talk to you guys next week. Until then, take it easy.